There are three phases that help us know what to do when someone is upset and caught in the emotional sprinkler. The first phase is called the primitive brain phase. During the primitive brain phase, there are a few things you don't want to do and a few you do want to do. When someone is in the primitive brain, you don't want to make the common communication mistakes listed previously. These mistakes can be especially hurtful when the primitive brain is active. You also don't want to teach during phase 1. The reason is that the teaching and consequences require the logical brain to be active, and that comes later. In fact, if teaching happens while the primitive brain is active, the primitive brain may automatically reject the idea, and that makes your idea a lot harder to suggest later when the logical brain is active. For example, a child is frantically looking for a toy they want to bring to show and tell, and you want to give a lesson on preparing ahead of time. The logical brain needs to be active to hear that lesson. You also don't want to try and cheer them up. They need to have the experience of processing emotional moments. So what do you do? First, recognize this as an opportunity to build a deep bond. Think, they are in the emotional sprinkler and their primitive brain is active. I know what to do. Then, show you care by showing sympathy and being nearby. Phase 2 is the cooling down period. This can last anywhere from 2 minutes to 2 days. It could be during the same conversation or much later. The primitive brain needs time to deactivate. Over time, the primitive brain will deactivate and the logical brain can start to take over. After the calming down period comes the logical brain phase. This is the time when things have cooled down and the logical brain has taken over. There are just 2 don'ts in this phase. There may be a tendency to just move on and don't mention what happened since things have calmed down, but don't miss the opportunity to build the bond. Your goal isn't to fix it, it's to build a bond. The more important thing is to be there for them emotionally. So what do you do? First, do the positive communication practices, like listening without getting defensive. Ask for their side of the situation. Validate their feelings. Try to put yourself in their shoes. Second, as long as the logical brain stays active, this is where you can give a little advice. Third, one of the best things you can do is help them label and organize what they were feeling. To them, what happened probably feels like a jumbled mess. Help their logical brain by giving them a vocabulary to understand what they are feeling. So remember, when the sprinklers come on, your goal is not to fix things or make things go away. Your goal is to help them navigate on their journey from the primitive brain to the logical brain. The primitive brain needs to know that it is safe before it can turn off. This can take validating feelings, or kind words, or sympathetic talk and gestures. There will be a cooling down period which can take 2 minutes or 2 days. It could be during the same conversation or many conversations later. Finally, there is the logical phase, where we can talk logically about the situation and help organize feelings.